On this brand new Nerdynomicon, we got trailers, don't we, Adrian?
We got trailers for days.
We got trailers. We got a comic book.
It's going to be amazing.
That's next on the brand new Nerdynomicon. This is the Nerdynomicon. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Adrian.
How was your week?
My week? Pretty good. Working a lot. This past weekend was a sleepover birthday party for Max.
So did you
Tavia's
sleep over on your little birthday party? Or
It wasn't
did you
my
bring your
birthday
sleeping
party.
bag? Did you have your fuzzy little slippers? Did you have
No.
one of those pajanimals? The pajamas that make you an animal?
Do you remember sleepovers as a kid?
How else did I know about pajanimals?
Okay. Did you sleep at sleepovers as a kid? Did anybody sleep at sleepovers as a kid?
Well, a couple of hours here or there you nodded off.
Maybe. One person always fell asleep first. That person got pranked with like a sock in his mouth or something. Whatever kids do to prank each other.
What the fuck kind of friends did you have? A sock in the mouth? We teabagged in my school, man. We nutted up. Literally.
I guess I had better friends than you.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
And so like one or two people fell asleep. Someone always got sick.
Yeah,
and the adults got no sleep. So we're in the adult phase now where we get no sleep.
But you know what? You should embrace that. You should embrace that, though. You spend that night to watch more cool movies, watch more cool TV shows, watch more fucking awesome trailers. Read a comic.
I don't have any comics.
I'll send you comics.
You should. And we should see if we can get them comped. Your company needs to start paying for my expenses, I believe.
Yeah, we're working on that, my friend. We're working on that.
I know, that's low on the
list. No, seriously, though. I've got a shit ton of comics here. We're actually going to be having a really cool episode coming up in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I'll start sending you some comics. You kidding me? I got plenty of stuff I know you'll love. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking about some of that shit tonight.
Okay. All right. Are you ready to hit me with it? Actually, no. Hang on.
Hanging on.
How was your week?
My week was good. There were no sleepovers involved. There was no teabagging or dirty socks. Nothing of the like. Just a whole bunch of awesome wrapped up into a nice orange wrapper that says Reese's on it, and then I'd eat it. That was a weird metaphor, granted, but it was a good week. It was a good week.
I was like, where is he going with this? I heard orange wrapper. I was like, I feel a Trump joke coming on. You went totally different direction.
Nope, there were no Trump jokes or anything like that. I was trying to go Reese's because Reese's are small, delicious, and I've loved them since I was a kid, which is going to be calling into a lot of the stuff that we're going to be talking about later. But no, it was a good week. It was definitely a good week.
What was the highlight? The one highlight. What was the peanut butter center to your Reese's week?
All right, this is a little bit sentimental, but the number one highlight to my week is actually today. Today is the 1 year anniversary of me becoming a daddy. Today is my kid's first birthday.
Round of applause for that.
Yes, round of applause, Max. If you inevitably end up listening to this show, hopefully when you're like fucking 16 years old, kid, because goddamn, otherwise I'm a terrible parent. I'm a shit parent, Adrian Steve. But no, today was really good, man. It was really, really good. Took him to the Buffalo Museum of Science, which is incidentally where Brooke and I got married. They had a music exhibit there, and he seems really musically inclined. I know that's kind of hard to tell as far as a 1-year-old, but he's always drumming on stuff, and he seems to have rhythm. So we took him to the music exhibit, and he loved it. Got an amazing little blue teddy bear cake from a local bakery around here. It was awesome.
You got to plug that bakery. What's the name of the bakery? Plug it.
Dessert Deli.
Ooh.
DessertDeli.com. Delicious
Nice.
Bakery. Delicious, amazing bakery. Fucking amazing cakes. My wife gets one cake from there every year for her birthday ever since she was like, I think 6 or 7. So they know the family by name.
That's a legit That's a legit plug right there. I'm hoping they'll send you a little cake or some cookies or something.
Comp the teddy bear cake. We spent an arm and a leg on it, but you know what? The first birthday, he's never going to remember it, but we will.
Right.
And this one was more of a celebration for us than it was for him. I mean, sure, he got toys. He got a little Spider-Man stuffy, a little Spider-Man stuffed animal. I made homemade sauce, angel hair spaghetti. You know, it was a good time. It was a good time.
Now back to the Spider-Man stuffy. I think we need to investigate that more.
Yep.
Which Spider-Man was it? Was it Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? Was it Andrew Garfield Spider-Man?
Generic Spider-Man. If anything, I would say maybe the newest iteration, seeing as though it came from Universal. Like, it's the ones that they sell at the Universal theme parks, so I'm assuming the new iteration.
Probably.
I mean, we're just talking generic Spider-Man. You
know,
it
wasn't like
animated
the
series Spider-Man.
First. It wasn't like the first outfit where he had like the webbing in the armpits.
No.
Like God, the original.
No. God, no. No, not that one. Not that one at all. No, generic Spider-Man. If anything, the cartoon version. Because I think
cartoon was solid. I like the
think
cartoon.
That's the version that they have as far as like the ride there. So it's been a long time since I've been. But I'm going to say cartoon Spider-Man.
Did they play the cartoon theme while you were waiting in line or on the ride?
They did.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh my God. With the guitar part?
Yep.
Fun fact. That was the song when I was younger that I would sing to myself while I was in the bathroom trying to poop. And my mother and sister had no idea what it was. They just thought it was my quote-unquote pooping song. So,
well, we've all got one. We've all got one. Mine was always Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. So every time somebody ever heard, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. They knew, oh, shit, Robbie's pooping. Incidentally, fun fact, that song later turned into my fucking song.
The Spider-Man theme song? Good choice, my friend.
No, I'm joking about that. Honestly, on both accounts, I've never had a pooping song that I know of. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think I did.
I just really liked the cartoon, and I really liked the music, and I think I think this happened like in the afternoon because it was on every day in the afternoon.
Right.
So I think it was about to come on, or it had just come on, and I was like, oh, I have to go poop. And it's commercial break, so I'm going in there, and
so
I'm
it was
still
almost
like amped up for Spider-Man.
As soon as Spider-Man came on, you're like, oh no, I need to pinch a grumpy.
Yeah. This was back before you could take TV
funny.
with you anywhere. This is back before you could stream whatever you want, whatever you want, whenever you want.
This is back when if you wanted to watch TV while you're pooping, you had to systematically set up mirrors. So you had to have a working understanding of science and geometry to be able to sit there and stare at the mirror and watch your favorite TV show. And sometimes you didn't get it right and you're watching it in reverse. And
this is also the time when Saturday morning cartoons, A, still existed, and B, were not available anywhere online.
Wait a minute, Saturday morning cartoons don't exist anymore?
No, I'm pretty sure that stopped a couple months ago, or maybe even a year and a half ago.
God damn it. What kind of world is my kid coming into?
A streaming world without commercials, so much better, actually.
All right, touche. You know, we do live in a world where I can find Eureka's Castle and Ren and Stimpy online, and I can subject him to the same shit that I had growing up. So the world is going to get another version of me. I'm lying to you. I'm not doing that. Those shows are great, but no, he's got to be better. No more of this shit.
You know what was really sad, though? I remember...
stops with me.
Never. I was say what makes me really sad is I remember cartoons that I loved when I was a kid, and I'm sure they're still great, but they were all in standard definition, and they're basically unwatchable now. You know, because we're totally spoiled with like high definition cartoons like Bob's Burgers or Archer or whatever, Rick and Morty, everything that's super like nice looking. And then I try to go back and watch something like Animaniacs, which is a solid show, and it looks like crap. You're like, I can't watch this.
You know what? You brought up Animaniacs. I'm going to take it deeper. Tiny Toons.
Tiny
yep. Toons, loved it. Have always loved it. Will always love it. Animation, as of right now, because of everything, unwatchable. Yeah. And it doesn't stop me from watching it, because I watched it recently.
How recently?
Today.
Really?
Yes,
you're messing with me?
No. I turned it on YouTube and watched a little bit of it today with Max. Not joking, man. I'm not joking about that at all.
I'm laughing at myself for not having believed you, actually.
See, that's just it. I say so much off the wall shit. Realistically, it's about a 50-50 cut, man. Half the shit I'm saying truth, half the shit I'm saying complete batshit, but you never know what half.
I should have guessed that half was true, though.
You really should have, man.
I should have. That's plausible.
To be fair, our listeners that also listen to Couldn't Be Models, I can guarantee you, I had at least half of those listeners believing that Tub Thumpin' was my poopin' song. At least half of them. As a matter of fact, half of those ones still don't believe that I was lying about it. They're over there saying, no, he's just backpedaling. It's totally his poopin' song. No, it really wasn't. But half of those listeners, they're like, yeah.
I want to say hi to the Couldn't Be Model listeners that have migrated over here or listened to both. I did not listen to a lot of everything when I was kind of on my, I don't know.
Let's call it a hiatus.
Hiatus? That sounds like hiatus is okay. What is it when a professor sabbatical? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Man, you're right there with me.
It's how I was
on
work,
my sabbatical.
Man. It's how I work.
I was not able to keep up on everything, but I did check out something that popped up in the podcast feed just by title alone, and I messaged you about it. So if anybody hasn't listened to it was Abraham Lincoln and who? The sex dream?
Abraham Lincoln Sex Hunter.
Sex Hunter?
Yeah.
That was just a little 20-minute excerpt though, right?
That one actually started out as a Patreon little segment that I put out, I think back in September. That was just us warming up for the show one day, and Hobart just kept on going. And I always start the recording early because I like to fill in the B-roll and stuff like that in the theme song.
Thank God you started it early on that. It was hysterical and extremely dirty. So if you're easily offended, don't listen to it. But
God, please don't.
If you have any humor in you, it was hysterical. I was laughing so hard. I had the biggest, stupidest grin because I was listening to it on the walk from my car to where I work, which is about a 15-minute walk. And I just had the biggest, dumbest grin on me the whole time. It was hilarious. Check it out.
And that one was a true story. Thank you for the plug for the other show, man. Adrian Steve approved. Couldn't Be Models says it's Adrian Steve approved. So you know it's good. I have no idea why I'm mugging at the wall like there's a camera on me right now. We got to get ready to start doing this shit on YouTube, man, because I'm playing to the camera right now, and there's not even a camera there. The camera's in the bag. So, but all right. So we've talked about our weeks and everything. I talked about my kid's first birthday. So future Max listening to this episode, happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Max. Also, as I was growing up, sorry to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine.
Last thought on birthdays.
Oh, you're fine.
The older I got, the harder it was for me to separate celebrating a birthday as like being not necessarily an achievement of me, but it's a celebration of the person. But I was always like, you know what? We're really just sitting around eating cake because my parents had sex X number of years and 9 months ago. Like, when we ultimately, if you break it down, that's not something I really want to be sitting around eating cake for.
Well, I'm telling you, I remember that session. I remember the date of conception for that, okay? Because it was a good session. I'm going to be eating cake and toasting that one till I die.
When I was conceived? Good session. You remember that?
Yes.
When I was conceived?
Yeah, sure. Not what I was referring to, but I remember that too. I was standing in the window, Adrian Steve. I was watching it take place. And let me tell you, your father had form. I remember specifically he was wearing his combat boots because in his own words, it gave him better traction. Oh, the things coming out of his mouth, though.
But was he wearing a pork pie hat? We got to link it up.
Oh, of course he was. He was wearing a stovetop hat. And he was over... And he was pointing to B. Arthur, and he was saying, "Get her."
Golden Girls. It was on in the background.
When is it not? Oh, my God.
So, sorry for my interruption.
Oh,
proceed. Proceed.
Actually, I was just going back just to make the logical segue, because we're going to start talking about the first of the two trailers that we wanted to bring up today. I talked about the Spider-Man stuffy, and incidentally, over the last week, Spider-Man Homecoming trailer Part 2, the second trailer, officially hit us all over our face, neck, and chest, man. Web slinging out, go web dick and everything, man. Fucking dicks out in this trailer. I was not overly impressed with the first one. Everybody was, just saying, oh, this movie looks great. No, it had good looking segments in it. And I'm officially going to see it just for that scene of Spidey slinging around the city with Iron Man flying right beside him. I'm in it for that alone.
Yeah.
Then, just like other things, trailer 2 comes out. Boom. Hit me. I'm ready for it. I am ready for this movie now. It has me. It has me with his little buddy wearing his hat or his mask, and I'm all over this. The Vulture looks great, played by Michael Keaton, a man that walks between two worlds now. He played the Batman, he's playing the Vulture.
Arguably one of the best Batman.
I don't think anybody is going to argue that. I don't think anyone will argue that, because he was the first cinematic bridge to Batman. He was the original cinematic bridge. You had Adam West in the televised version, and you've got your cartoon versions of Batman throughout, but Michael Keaton was the one that brought it forth, okay? And this is a man, to quote Kevin Smith, this is a man who broke the internet before there was an internet, because everybody was furious that he got cast as Batman. Little known fact, this has been lost to time. People were pissed off that Mr. Mom was cast as Batman. Then the movie comes out, Tim Burton's directing, Jack Nicholson's the Joker, blew everyone away. So this is a man that walks between two worlds, crushed it as Batman. He's going to crush it as the Vulture. I'm happy with this. Robert Downey Jr. looks fantastic as Iron Man. I'm loving the snark. I'm loving the wit. I'm loving how he's hitting on his aunt and everything. Not his own aunt, talking about Aunt May.
Who could blame him, though?
Oh, dude, seriously, who could blame him? Oh. Dude, I would hit on her if she was your aunt. As a matter of fact, she might be, and I might just. We'll become family one day, Adrian. I once called you my brother in babbling on this podcast, and we're going to make it official. We will be family.
When we meet up, we'll do Blood Brothers, okay?
That or just have a daughter, man. We'll join our houses. Stark Baratheon style. Boom!
We'll see.
That'll happen.
Don't push me. Don't rush me, okay?
Won't rush you, bro. But going back to Spider-Man, this second trailer had everything that I wanted. The first trailer had some good sequences. It made me smile, made me nod my head. It looks good. It looks like a Marvel movie. It looks solid. I'm happy about that. I'm happy that Sony is allowing Spider-Man into the cinematic universe, because we need him for the Infinity War. I was happy about that, but the movie looked meh. I could miss this one. It's not one I'm going to rush right out to see. Trailer 2, if that's what we're getting, that has me. Yeah. More of that. That's the trailer that should have been the first one that they dropped, man, because that was fantastic.
I feel like they should have split the difference between... So I loved the second trailer. I'm super hyped for this movie. I love Spider-Man to begin with. I mean, hell, right on. He's my pooping song. So, I mean, clearly, I'm all about Spidey.
I'm going to cut you off for just 1 second here. We are finally in the cinematic world getting a full movie with teenage Spider-Man. All right, because who the hell actually believed that Tobey Maguire was a teenage Spider-Man? Seriously, Andrew Garfield was like my age when he made that movie. Dear God, no. We are getting a real teenage Spider-Man who looks like he's fucking 15, man. Spider-Man Homecoming, it looks like he's getting ready to nervously ask the high school girl to homecoming, okay? That's what we're getting. This is who Spider-Man is. That's what I wanted. Mm-hmm. Proceed.
So, I think I'm probably getting a reputation for crapping on things that I actually really love, but...
You do have the reputation of being the more critical of the two of us, yes.
I wanted to be surprised when I go to the theater, and I'm really scared that I'm not going to be surprised anymore. I feel like that second trailer gave away a lot of really cool scenes. And I understand you're trying to get people hyped for this movie, and you want to get butts in seats. But I feel like a lot of the story, like the plot development, at least between Spider-Man and Iron Man and all that stuff, I feel like a lot of that has been kind of let out of the bag. And I feel like one of the big, like, super awesome Spidey saves the day scenes is kind of let out of the bag. And, it was nuts. I don't want to talk too much
about
it. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about it because I actually would encourage anyone who is interested in this movie to not watch the trailer, because I feel like it's going to be a much better experience if you go in without seeing the stuff from the trailer, because I feel like it gives away too much. But yeah, like
saving the boat trailer thing. That one was in trailer number 1 as well, just not nearly as much of the footage was shown.
Right.
You see it at the end of the trailer, and that's one of the things that kind of gave me chills. That boat scene, yeah, I see what you're talking about, but if the trailers for Civil War are any indication, the scenes that you're referring to might be the highlights of the movie, but the specific parts of it might still be hidden. A good example is the battle between the two factions in Civil War. This is just my personal opinion, but the minute that Ant-Man become Giant Ant-Man, or Giant Man, that was the best part of the entire battle. That was the best sequence, and that was not ruined in the trailer. So,
right.
I see what you're saying.
And I see what you're saying. You see what I'm saying. Honestly, I don't know how much more they could keep under wraps. Like, if they must have some amazing cards up their sleeves if what they showed isn't the best stuff, or close to the best stuff. And if
Marvel,
so, I'm even more hyped. But as it is right now, I'm nervous, because I want the movie to be good. I love Spider-Man. I poop to his music. I just want it to be awesome.
Well, here's the thing. Amazing. We're in a post-Logan world now. So when these comic book movies come out, I think everybody should be nervous, because the bar is set super high now. We've got Deadpool. We live in that world. We have Logan. We have The Dark Knight. These movies have set the bar so unbelievably high that these movies need to take whatever they were doing and up it. Okay? I have no fears for Guardians 2. I have no qualms, no fears. I feel like, and I'm hoping I'm not going to be let down, but after watching number 1, I know what I'm going to be getting with Guardians. And that's what I want. That movie needs to stay exactly the way it was previously, and there we go. I'm not afraid for Guardians. Spider-Man, I'm a little bit fearful. Thor Ragnarok, a little bit fearful. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But I'm still optimistic, because I really like the way Marvel has been doing their cinematic universe. They've been doing far better than DC.
Oh, yeah. Hands down.
Yeah. DC is crushing it in the shows. With the exception of Netflix. Netflix is a whole different animal. That's a whole other beast. But I'm referring to like Arrow, Supergirl, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow. The Berlanti-verse, mind you. They're crushing it. They're doing the fucking Lord's work over there. They really are. Those shows are incredible. Musical episode notwithstanding. But that's beside the point. Marvel is crushing the movies. DC is crushing the shows. So I'm still fearful. I agree with what you're saying. I'm basically talking in a circle right now because I don't know exactly where I fall down on the fence on this.
Yeah, we're not going to know until it comes out.
Right. I'm fearful, but I'm incredibly optimistic. And I'm hopeful that I won't be disappointed. I guess
I'm optimistic, but I'm incredibly fearful. We're the same person. We're mirror images of each other.
All right.
Maybe that's why you're scared of me.
We're finally falling down on the same side of things, and that probably is why, because I'm terrified of mirrors.
I know you're terrified of mirrors. I'm your doppelganger. We are the same.
Yeah, my hair's starting to get long too.
We are the same. I'm just the opposite.
Second trailer. You ready for the second trailer? Because you're about to piss people off with this one. You will.
Oh, sorry.
Because you have not read the book. You have not seen the original movie. And you just told me this.
I just told you that. That's correct.
Oh, my God.
Sorry.
The second
I have other
trailer
things going on.
that we need to... Other things going on. This movie's been out for over 20 years. That's
not
other
it's
things
not going
on.
anywhere.
That's not other things going on. That's you've been spending too much time pooping to Spider-Man, okay?
No such thing, my friend. No such thing. You want to get backed up? You want to have the Sinister Six come and pull that out of you? No, you don't.
Of course, the movie that we're talking about right now is It. Stephen King's It. The trailer is out, my friends. The trailer has happened to us. Holy fucking Lord, I was not expecting that. Oh my God, we watched this trailer together right before we recorded, and I said not one word about it. This is my 5th time watching that trailer. I said not one word about it because I wanted to save it for the podcast. I wanted to do our simultaneous reactions with each other on air. Holy Lord. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding this movie because of Tim Curry, because Tim Curry brought it with Pennywise the Dancing Clown. And I'm going to be honest with you, this is something that's going to make a lot of people shake their head at me. I always loved Tim Curry. I was never scared of Tim Curry. Tim Curry always seemed to be a joyous, happy clown with malicious intent coming secondary. Lots of people, he was the key to their nightmares. He was not for me. I liked him, but that was pretty much where I fell down. This version of Pennywise, what's his name? Andrew Skarsgård, Alex Skarsgård, something to that effect. This Pennywise looks flat out demonic, flat out malevolent. Oh my God, this Pennywise is horrifying. There's a scene in this trailer where this slide projector is just flipping through and the hair starts to come up and you start to see just the smallest bit of Pennywise leering at them from under the hair. Oh, man. And the trailer starts out, we're basically jumping all over in this trailer. The trailer starts out with the iconic opening scene from the movie where Georgie runs out to play in the rain with his little paper boat. The boat goes down into the sewer, and who should appear with it but Pennywise? Now, you don't see the continuation of that scene where he talks to Georgie or anything. You don't even hear his voice, which could ruin Pennywise for me. I'm not going to lie. That could be the key. But if we're going on aesthetics, I think this Pennywise is better any day of the week. But that's just my opinion. Lots of people are going to be purists, and there's nothing wrong with that. Your Pennywise is your Pennywise. If Tim Curry is going to continue to be your Pennywise from back when you first saw it, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Robert Englund is now and has always been and will always be my Freddy Krueger, no matter who else takes up the mantle in any of the subsequent remakes, because more are coming. So I get it. I totally get it. But this is a Pennywise for a new generation. This is a Pennywise that's designed to horrify you and not give you the creeps. This is a Pennywise that's there to rape your dreams and not just give you the nightmares. And I'm loving the aesthetic. I'm loving the shots. I'm loving the tone of this movie so far. And this is only a teaser trailer. This is like 2 minutes, 33 seconds worth.
Yeah.
Now that I've just fucking come all over the podcasting table, Adrian, take it away. Your reactions, your initial reactions. You've never seen this.
I have not seen it. I don't have much of a reference for it. All I can say is I thought the directing, I was blown away by the artistry of the shots. I mean, it's not your standard horror movie kind of shots. Maybe that's not fair. I haven't seen a lot of the modern horror movies. Like I try to catch them here and there, but I mean, I was just blown away by even just the kid chasing the paper boat and down the drain and all that kind of stuff. So I thought it looked really good. I feel like the Pennywise is creepy as fuck. Like I love what they did. I feel like didn't we talk about this like a year or two ago on Polygon when they first revealed the design of the character, and I gave you shit for him wearing a tutu? I feel like I did.
Actually, I think that was on Nerdynomicon because that was back in September.
No, it had to be.
Hell no,
man. It had
man.
to be further back than that.
Absolutely not, because Brooke was sitting right next to us.
To be fair, Brooke's sitting right next to you on most of the times we're podcasting. You just make her sit there. It's the worst thing I've ever seen anyone do. It's just awful.
All right, touche.
Just kidding. But, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the full depiction of the character like running around or anything. They've done a good job of just showing you glimpses here and there, and the face or the eyes are fading it in, but they haven't shown you the full character. And maybe that doesn't really appear all that often in horror movie in the final product. But yeah, I mean, I thought the artistry and the direction is top notch. The Pennywise is creepy as fuck. Mm-hmm. It's got a whole like Stranger Things vibe because it's a bunch of kids.
Yes, it does.
Bunch of kids trying to figure it out, and maybe that's you could see as maybe that's unfair because I think anything that's going to have a bunch of kids working on something together is going to have a Stranger Things vibe. Now it's just that's the new big thing.
I thought you were talking about the tone and the shots and the lighting and everything like that. The way you meant that, Stranger Things had an it vibe going on about it, okay? We need to back the bra wagon up a little bit here. However, now that we're living in this world, this is a remake. Even aesthetically, it does have a Stranger Things look and feel to it. The shots seem to be lit the same way. The kids, slightly older, probably 12, 13 like they should be in the book, as opposed to like 8 or 9 like they seem in Stranger Things. So... But yeah, the comparison is definitely there.
So, I mean, it has a lot of appealing things about it. Yeah. Apparently, I'm an asshole for not having seen or read anything before this. But you know what? There's things I've done that you haven't done, so fuck you, whoever thinks that.
I'm raising my hand right here, Adrian Steve. I'm raising it right here. Can't believe you haven't seen the original It. Out of anybody in the company, I would have bet money. I would have bet my next paycheck that you have seen It.
I really haven't seen most of Stephen King's stuff. And it's not because I dislike Stephen King. I haven't read a lot of Stephen King's stuff. I think the most amount of time I put into anything by his was The Dark Tower, just because it's a long, long series. I finished it. I loved it. I don't know. I just never got into horror novels. You know, I never read The Shining, which I don't remember if that's Stephen King or not.
God.
But, you know,
yes,
like,
it is.
And that's
one
a classic.
Of his best works.
Yeah, that's a classic book.
Yes, it is.
I just haven't. And it's not because I dislike it. It's just I was doing other things. Other things seemed more important at the time. There was never a point where someone was like, read The Shining or go to jail. It's like, well, I guess I'm reading The Shining. It's just like, okay, I've got to work on schoolwork, or I got to work on music, or I got to hustle to find a new job, or I got to sleep. I am tired.
Sleep when you're dead, Adrian Steve. I've got one for you. Not by Stephen King, by somebody better. You know my favorite contemporary author right now is Joe Hill. Incidentally, Stephen King's son.
I know that.
Nosferatu. NOS4A2. Read it. Because apparently... it's still in the works. I've been checking up on this halfway regularly. AMC is looking at producing a series based on Nosferatu. Cannot wait for this, even if it's only a miniseries. I'll take that. I'll take any Joe Hill adaptation I can fucking get my hands on. Tommy Lauren is now without a job. I'm thinking about hiring her, sitting her down at the podcasting table, and having her yell at the network studio executives until somebody picks up Joe Hill's pilot for Lock and Key, because this shit needs to get made. So you need to read Nosferatu, or at least listen to the audiobook.
Okay, fine. But then I'm going to make you listen to Touched by the Crimson King, a concept album made by a band called Demons and Wizards that is based off of the books. And you're going to have to listen to that.
I don't know what any of those words mean. You got a sick and twisted world perspective, Adrian Steve, but I am fucking in. I will do it.
Do you like metal? Do you like guitars?
Metal. Love guitars.
Do you like The Dark Tower?
Dark Tower. Metal. Man in Black. Ezra Miller. Matthew McConaughey's playing the Man in Black. Yes, I'm fucking in. Let's do this.
But it's singing. Like it's if anybody's into metal and doesn't know, or even if you aren't, it's a side project. The band Demons and Wizards is a side project between two founding members of two other giant metal bands. One of them is Iced Earth. They got the guitarist John Schaefer, and one of them is the vocalist for Blind Guardian, who is Hansi Kirsch, I believe is how you pronounce his name.
Blind Guardian, take it to the tower.
But he sings. He's one of the best singers out there right now. So he does all these super layered vocals for his metal stuff, and then awesome guitars. So you're gonna, I know, I just sold you on it. You're gonna listen to it tonight.
You did. You're gonna listen to it tonight. You're talking about the vocals now. All I'm thinking about is Crimson King Corvette. Ooh, Crimson King Corvette.
Split the difference between
Split the difference. Split the minute and the Crimson King. Okay, I'm there. I've got it in my brain, Adrian Steve. We're good for this.
Your mind will be blown. It has some great tracks on it. The opening track is going to blow your hair off of your head.
Loving this. Okay, I'll definitely check that out.
See, so I was doing music stuff, and you're doing film and book stuff, and we're going to have overlaps. And then we're going to have gaps. We complement each other.
We do.
I think you're a beautiful man. We complement each other.
I think you have the most luxurious locks I have ever seen on a person. Man or woman.
Actually, speaking of complimenting each other, that was something that we used to do whenever someone would leave the microphone
Yes,
for a little
it
bit. that was my favorite
Yes.
gag. I don't
Yes,
think
it
it ever
is.
made it in because we always had to stop because somebody left the microphone. But
Yeah, and because you were always good with compliments, and anybody else that we had on there, they were usually just so fucking surly. They're just like, he's got a nice face.
I tried to come up with the most ridiculous compliments that I could think of. I think I once said, I think you left the microphone once, and I was like, I think I was talking with Brooke. I was like, he's a gentle lover, and I just said it like
Oh my God, I
wistfully,
remember that.
like I would
remember
have
that.
any clue.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some of the people that we had on there that you would have do that forgot about the fact that I'm the producer for this show, so I hear this shit when I'm cutting it. They're like, yeah, he's got a nice ass. I'm sitting there, oh, really? Oh, really? Then I'd
Yes.
say that to someone, wait a minute, that wasn't on the episode. You do know I'm the one that cuts it, right? Really? Okay, fair enough.
Just save it on your phone. You can play it back at any time. Like,
Exactly.
he has a nice ass, nice ass, ass, nice ass.
Dude, I just remix it, throw some music on there, use it as a ringtone. Booyah! Solved it!
Or the intro music for our next podcast.
I love it. So we got to get moving on here, man, because we still got a few more things to go.
We've been rambling.
We really have. It trailer. You love it? You hate it? You indifferent?
I will not say indifferent or hate it or love it. Love it's too strong. I like it. It has piqued my interest. I'm definitely interested in seeing it. I don't know if I'll be able to get out to the theaters to do it, but I'm not like, oh, this is a shit movie, it's gonna suck. No, it looks good. It looks real good.
Gotcha. So it made it move a little for you. Made it move.
Yeah, it twitched. I'm not fully at midnight, but
Okay.
it's twitching.
Well, for me, it's a threat level midnight. It got me diamond hard. I could cut glass with my fucking boner right now, man. I am in for it. Just all I'm saying is, please, for the love of God, don't ruin this for me. This trailer looks so amazing. It looks like it's picture perfect for the remake that I wanted to see. Don't fuck me. Don't fuck me, Hollywood. Don't you fuck me. Moving right along. My next review for the night. Creepypasta the comic book. Our last episode of Lords of the Polygon Table featured a sit-down with Mr. Creepypasta. He was talking about his Kickstarter for his brand new comic book that he was writing with Vincent Vinicava. It has come to fruition. I got the digital download. I did not touch it. I did not read it because I wanted to get this book in my hands before I had any semblance of knowledge of what's going on here. I may have scrolled through and taken a look at some of the art, which was spectacular. It was absolutely beautiful, but I didn't read it. I now have it in my hand, signed by Vincent Vinicava himself. There's 2 stories in here, not including the wraparound, that has to do with the Blue Man. There are some things in this book that I'm not completely sold on. The art style seems to switch up between the 2 stories, and it also changes up with the wraparound. Not sure how I feel about that. I get it with the 2 stories. I'm not sure how I feel about the wraparound, but that is what it is. The Blue Man, the concept of the Blue Man himself, never explained in comic, doesn't exactly need to, but I've actually read up and listened to the Blue Man creepypasta, and I still don't necessarily get it. But again, neither here nor there. This book gets me immediately just for the use of the rake. It makes the rake terrifying again. It makes the rake relevant again. It is everything that these rake creepypastas needed to be, because people keep on writing about it. And some of them, not great. Others, horrifying. This one, horrifying, and brought to you in comic book format with beautiful art. Absolutely spectacular art. So it's worth the price of admission for this, just for that one story. But there's 2 in there. And the next one has to do with a man who's on death row, and he's claiming that he is innocent because some creature that wore the skin of somebody else actually committed the crimes. That's all I'm going to say about it, because this book has twists and turns all over the place. Some predictable, some not so much. But all creepy, all pasta. It's fucking scary spaghetti like you ain't never seen, man. So I definitely recommend picking up this book. I'm going to be honest, and this is definitely a criticism. I tried to find this book online. I tried to find a website that I could buy it on. I tried to visit mrcreepypasta.com, was not able to find anything there, so I don't actually know where you can purchase this book if you didn't support the Kickstarter. When I find out, I will absolutely update you guys on the show, but I checked a bunch of different websites. I can't find anything. I checked the Kickstarter feed. I looked all through there. Maybe I was going too fast and I overlooked something. I don't think so. But even if that is the case, it's really not an excuse because it should be in a few different places just for people that are doing the exact same thing as me. So if you got the comic, it's awesome. If you're interested in the comic, I recommend hunting it down. If you're trying to hunt it down, I wish I could help you out more. Maybe I will be next week, 2 weeks from now, next month from now. But if you can find it, if you know where to get it, I recommend you get it.
I don't know anything about it. Although I will say, if it's based off of creepypastas, wasn't the episode that you did without me also about a comic based off of creepypastas?
It was indeed, and thank you for bringing that up, because that allows me to plug it again. Ben Grisanti was on the last episode with us, okay, talking about his comic book Polybius Dreams, which is based on the creepypasta Polybius, which I looked up and listened to right after we got off the microphones, drifted to sleep, and had Polybius dreams. And let me tell you, they're not the type of dreams I wanted. They did not involve leggy supermodels. They did not involve Larissa Olenek. They didn't involve Rachel Lee Cook. Any of the frequent flyers that kind of passed through my mind. They didn't involve marshmallows, pizza, anything like that. They were horrifying. It was terrible times. Terrible, terrible times. So what does that tell me? That this comic is not terrible times. Because if the creepypasta alone can fucking do that, imagine what somebody who's building on that world can do. And I've read Ben's other shit. I love Insurance. I love The Man at the Diner. This comic is going to be amazing. And it is... I just looked at it today. I think it's about 2/3 funded, and he still has like 40 more days. But by the time you guys are listening to this episode right now, you have already missed out on getting the limited edition April print. So if you guys subscribed after you heard the episode in that few days between the two episodes this week, good on you, man, because I backed this one. So Creepypasta, the comic book, absolutely love it. Cannot recommend it enough. If you can get your hands on it, get it. I just don't know where to send you guys to get it. And POLYBIUSDreams.com. Check out Ben Grisanti's Kickstarter there. Definitely sign up and get this funded, man, because you are going to love it. If you're a fan of Ben's, you know his style, you're going to love it. If you don't know him, fund it anyway and get to know him, because once you get to know him, you're going to love him. That's 3 out of our 4 reviews right there. Adrian, I'm going to pass the reins over to you because the next one was your suggestion for reviewing, and then we've got our topic, so take it away, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to toss it right back to you pretty quick, though, because, I mean, I was blown away by the show. I'm sorry,
I know.
play
basketball. I check it to you, and you're like, oh, it's nice and squishy. Here, take it back, fucker.
I pass the ball around. I'm a distributor. I don't shoot. I don't take the shots. I've always been either defense or you pass the ball, probably because I sucked. But I found out real quick.
Hey, white men can't jump, dude. It's cool. It's cool.
Here's the strategy. If you were ever forced to play basketball or have a bunch of friends that force you to play basketball with them and you still want to hang out, no one gets angry at you when you miss a 3 because 3s are hard. So just play defense, try to rebound, and stay on the outside on offense. And if you're so open that they're screaming at you to shoot, just shoot that 3 and miss it and be like, oh, darn. You know, it's a 3. You're expected to miss it most of the time. That's a little Adrian trip from me to you.
Much appreciated.
But so the show that I'm talking about has nothing to do with basketball.
Not one iota.
Nothing at all. Not at all. So it's a show on HBO called Crashing. I think it's freaking hilarious. It follows a comedian, Pete Holmes, and it's I think loosely based off of his life. I don't think it's I think there's a lot of liberties that have been taken with it, but it's basically about a guy who's making a big change in his life, and he wants to be a stand-up comedian. And so he's, trying to break into the business. And in doing so, he's kind of doesn't have anything. Like, all of his life is kind of going to shit. And he's crashing on couches as he's trying to follow his dreams, which sounds kind of inspiring, but it's really not like an inspiring. It's not like, oh, you can do it kind of story. It's just, you're just following a dude trying to get, follow his dreams, and it's got some great jokes in here, great stand-up. But I think the thing that's really puts it over the top for me is all the guest stars that they have come on for an episode or two here and there, and they bring them back. And it's all these big comedy names like Artie Lang, Sarah Silverman, T.J. Miller. It's just, and they're in there, and they're integral members of the story. They're not just like, hey, I'm going to come in, tell a joke, and then I'm off. They actually come in and they help move the story forward, which is really, really nice. I found myself laughing my ass off so many times at it. Sometimes at his stand-up, sometimes at just the random situations that they put him in. Because his character used to be a youth pastor, I think, or is very religious. And then he's trying to break into this dirty, filthy world of comedians that are drinking too much, doing drugs, screwing girls, talking about their dicks, talking about just all this, stuff that is not where you would expect this young, religious person to go. So he keeps it clean most of the time, but no one else around him does. And it's really funny. But I want to hear what you thought. That's my review. I think it's hilarious. I think everyone should watch it. Do you like stand-up comedy at all? Or are you like kind of awkward comedies where, the person is just a fish out of water? Yeah, go for it. But what did you think, Robbie?
All right, here's what I think. I think that this show is yet another hidden gem on HBO. I think that this show is hysterical. I think that the supporting cast is definitely what elevates this show. Having Artie Lang on there, having T.J. Miller, because all I could do was think of Deadpool when he was on screen. Having Sarah Silverman, having even lesser-known guys like Henry Zabrowski from Last Podcast on the Left and Your Pretty Little Face is Going to Hell and Heroes Reborn and shit. Having him as a small role on there as well, I thought was absolutely brilliant. Pete Holmes, on the other hand, here's the thing about Pete. You learn to begrudgingly love him. Because for the first 2 episodes, Pete is the living worst, at least in my opinion. He is so sheltered. He's so self-absorbed, so vapid, so self-centered. He doesn't see anything that he's doing is wrong. He doesn't see anything that he is doing as selfish. You start out by seeing these things happen to him, and then kind of like the movie Forgetting Sarah Silverman? No. Mm-hmm. Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Forgetting
Sarah Silverman.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall with Kristen Bell and
one of my all-time favorite movies, by the way.
Jason Segel. Yeah, I love that movie. But it's a lot like that, okay? How you see things from both sides, and you also don't seem to demonize either side. This show does approach that exact same concept, but it does it in a much longer way. And personally, I was not on Pete's side, especially when he's using the analogy. And this is kind of a huge plot point. It's not really a spoiler, but a huge plot point. He does not have a job. He went from living with his parents and his parents supporting him to going to college to be a youth pastor to getting married and then having his wife support him. He does not support himself, but expects everybody else to support his dream, and his dream being a stand-up comic. And his logic is, at the end of the day, I'm going to be a comic. It's kind of like, you supporting your boyfriend or husband going through medical school, and everybody keeps shooting back the retort, no, it's nothing like that, because at the end of medical school, you're a doctor. Yeah. Well, at the end of this, I'm going to be a comic. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Let me bring this to you in my terms, okay? I am a podcaster. Adrian, you are a podcaster. Do you know how many podcasts there start up every single day? I mean, hell, Polygon Table, Nerdynomicon, Couldn't Be Models. Those are 3 of my own. Most podcasts fold. 90% of them, frankly, fold after 10 episodes. Another 5% fold after 50, or right before 50. Okay, so that's 95 people that legitimately think right from the very first episode, I'm going to start being a podcaster, I'm going to make it as a podcaster, I'm going to make all this money. Yeah.
Let me stop you right there for just a second, though.
Sure.
I mean, because I'm not sure that everyone's doing it to make money.
No,
I'm not doing it to make money. If I made money doing it, that would be great. But I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I like talking to you.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That was a bit of a misnomer on my part. I apologize for that. Not everybody does it for that reason, but a lot of people think that their podcast is immediately, the minute they put it out there, here's a better point. The minute that they put it out there, they're going to have 20,000 people that are going to be listening to it, or 10,000, or even 1,000 people listening to their podcast, when most podcasts out there are lucky to get 10 listeners a week. I know that because I started up Polygon Table, and I fought my ass off and marketed my ass off to get past 30 listeners a week. Now we're here in Nerdynomicon. This episode's either, 19, 20? We're in the thousands of listeners every single week for our episodes. So
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, by the way.
To all of you out there, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, it humbles me to know how many people out there enjoy listening to me spastically ranting and raving and salivating all over the fucking table, talking about everything that I love in pop culture. And makes Adrian feel suave and sexy with his long, luxurious hair that he whips from side to side. He whips his hair back and forth. He whips his hair back and forth.
No. I whip my hair in circles while I rock out to my metal guitars.
Hey, she whipped her hair in circles in the music video. God damn it, I'm falling down another rabbit hole. But here's my point. His logic was the same. At the end of this, he's going to do that. When it doesn't always work out that way, for luck reasons, first off. Secondly, you need talent, which it's obvious that Pete does have. Thirdly, that logic just doesn't work in trying to also have a relationship. That is fine logic to start out with to a very small degree, when you're single, young, trying to make it on your own. This is a man that was married. This is a man who has another human being that depends on him. This is a man who probably wants to start a family wanted to start a family at some point. Mm-hmm. And his logic is not cohesive with that. So I understand what happened to him. I'm surprised it didn't happen to him sooner. But here's the thing about Pete. He's also lovable. You can't help but like the guy and feel sorry for him. He's like Ben Stiller in the second half of every Ben Stiller movie ever made, to where it stops being ha-ha funny and starts being I feel bad for you funny, and you kind of just want to run him a shower so that he can sit in it hugging his knees and crying, you know? So kind of like Ben Stiller specifically in Meet the Parents and Meet the Fockers, where I'm like, I'm not even laughing anymore. I just want to hug you. That's kind of how I ended up feeling about Peter.
Yeah,
but despite all of this, I like the show. I think it's very funny, and I think that every one of you guys should pause the episode right now, binge watch the 6 or 7 episodes that's online right now, then come back and continue listening.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you're right. Pete's not instantly likable. I mean, if you're not paying attention, maybe he is. Like, he's kind of got that goofy quality and
that shucks or doodle.
Yeah. He's got that kind of innocent, new babe in the world kind of quality about him. But yeah, if you really sit down and if you wait long enough, they'll tell you in the show too. But I mean, if you sit down and think about it, they'll be like, he's kind of an asshole. Like I don't think he's doing it on purpose, but he's kind of an asshole. He's not really contributing that much to, his relationship and to the future. And he's 100% sold that he's going to be a comedian. I mean, the analogy that he repeatedly used, as you said, is like, well, it's like supporting a doctor, or a kid in medical school. When he gets out, he's going to be a doctor. It was like, yeah, but that's a degree. That's a guarantee. Like, you have a piece of paper that says you are a doctor. You can go be a doctor and make doctor money.
Right.
Like, there's no comedian degree. There's no comedian school. There's no guarantee you're going to get out and be a comedian. And then there's no guarantee that the comedian money you're going to be making is going to be good enough. There's top tier comedians. And then there's like open mic comedian. Like, which one are you going to be?
Exactly. That's exactly right. So I don't know.
So yeah, as a character, it's interesting. And I think actually even more interesting than him is the character of the wife. because
thank you, because that's
go,
exactly where I wanted to segue it into. Thank you.
Yeah, because you go kind of on a journey with. I've flipped back and forth. It's like, oh, I don't like her. Oh, actually, I see where she's coming from. Actually, she's pretty cool. No, I don't like her. Oh, like it flips back and forth, and it's really. I think it speaks to how well the character was written and how well she was portrayed by the actress, that you can have those wild swings based on things that are happening. It's centered around Pete. Things that are happening to Pete.
Oh, don't get me wrong. The actress is absolutely spectacular. The way the character is written is very, very interesting as well, because I flat out do not like the wife whatsoever. I think that she's an incredibly selfish bitch. And I don't say that lightly, because lots of the things that she does, she truly believes that she's doing for Peter's own betterment. And frankly, I agree with all of her points. But here's the thing. I may agree with your points, but I detest your methods. She decides to go on this whole shaking up thing and doing things for Pete's own betterment after she's already committed infidelity against him by sleeping with the art teacher in the school that she's working at. First off, I've got a problem with shit and where you eat, period, especially in a school. So that's my first point. Secondly, if you care this much to shake up his life for his own betterment, for his own good, like specifically, spoiler alert here, there's an episode where Pete has not told his parents about his divorce with his wife yet, or ex-wife, mind you, and convinces her to sit down for his mom's birthday dinner at a nice restaurant and pretend like they're a big happy family still. Toward the end of it, his ex-wife flips out, spills the beans, and starts essentially just going after his mother, just insulting her and insulting Pete and talking about how their relationship is gross and disgusting and blah, 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 blah. And then storms off. Here's the complexity, and this is why I praise the writing and I'm praising the actress so much. Everything that she said, I agree with. That relationship was creepy as fuck, dude. Creepy as fuck. That was creepier than Robin Aaron and Lysa Tully in Game of Thrones. And that kid was like 11 or 12 and still breastfeeding. That's some weird ass shit. However, she decides to get a hair up her ass and do this to make him better, to cut the strings, to do this for his own good, as she says to him directly after that scene, after she fucks the art teacher and breaks up their marriage.
Yeah, and I think, there's a certain amount of that is her trying to save face. I mean,
yes.
I think she's in a point, and again, we're not ruining too much of the series. A lot of this stuff is revealed early on.
This is a type of show where you can know plot points, but the beauty of the series is taking the journey. So I can tell you that A, B, and C happened, but the beauty part of the show is getting to A, B, and C, because everything else that goes on is why you watch this show. Like, you watch Westworld, you know certain plot points, it kind of takes something away from it. This show, you just have to experience it, because it's that kind of comedy, it's that kind of funny, Is that a good way of describing it?
Yeah, and it's interesting because there are things that happen that are a little bit unpredictable, but it takes you on Pete's journey, and there are moments where you're just like, man, I don't know about this guy. I don't think he's going to make it, and I think this is going to break him, or I think this is going to happen, and then it'll surprise you and be like, oh man, that was awesome. Okay, he's on the right track, and then the next, immediately you're like, oh no, this is not good,
Yeah, so he's the type of guy you can't help but root for, even if he pisses you off.
Yeah, because it's like with everything that's going on with him, you want him to at least have something come out of it. It sucks going through a bunch of suffering and bullshit and getting nothing out of it.
Precisely. But so that was the biggest contentious area that I had with the show, is my feelings on the wife. And I've settled on the fact that I don't like her, because even though I agree with her on almost everything, she took that one step too far, and like you said, it's almost like a saving face or an about face type situation, and it's just too late for that. It's just too late. Having a yard sale and selling off all of his stuff to give him the money so that she doesn't leave him with anything, or with nothing. Although that sounds noble the way she words it, that kind of gives you a, she does still care about you type situation. It's still selling his stuff.
Yeah.
He finds out about it the day before. You don't postpone. You don't wait. You're still living in the house. You're selling his shit without his approval
she's doing her shit, and she's doing things, and then just trying to say it's for him. And maybe it is, and maybe she's doing her stuff, and then trying to make up for it after the fact. I think is the best way to put it.
But I mean, here's the thing.
She's not necessarily wrong.
She's not necessarily wrong on most things. But here, I'm a gamer, okay? She's trying to defend selling off his Super Nintendo and all of his games. Bitch, I'm a fucking gamer. I'm a smack you Mario style, all right? I'm a jump on your head like you're a Koopa. You try to sell my Super Nintendo. Because that shit's an antique. You don't do that. You don't sell a man's gaming console. I don't care who you think you are. But the point of the matter is, yeah, what she's doing, she may think is noble, but first off, is it? Is it really? Is it really a nice thing?
No, I mean, it's as nice as she can make the shitty thing that she's doing to be nice, you know?
Right.
Like,
it's almost like the person that starts doing an act of contrition simply because she feels bad for setting a fire at the orphanage. All right, that was a weird metaphor as well. I'm full of weird metaphors tonight. But that one was over the top. It's her trying to do something nice. It's her trying to word it in a nice way by still doing something shitty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, that's my opinion on the wife. But overall review of the show, watch it. I don't think that there's been a negative thing on our episode today. The closest thing to a negative is I don't know where to send you guys to read Creepypasta the comic book.
You also tried to get a mob of torches and pitchforks at me because I hadn't seen or read the earlier iterations of it.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily negativity. That's just something that has to happen. That's just basics right there, Adrian. That's just what it is.
We'll see. You listen to my music. We'll see.
So our main topic today. Yeah. Didn't you say you've got a main topic for us?
I mean, I do. I thought you knew it. Let me see.
I'm going to let you introduce it in.
I got to do everything around here. I swear to God. No, I'm just kidding. So my main topic is based off of Crashing. So the character of Pete starts out as a youth pastor, doing his stuff, and then radically changes his life direction, deciding he wants to be a stand-up comedian. They never really show how he made that decision or why he made that decision. Perhaps they'll do that in later episodes at some point.
I hope so, man. There's only 2 left this season.
Right? I know, it's so short. But even if they don't, it's not that important. But I thought that was interesting. And I was wondering if there was ever a time where you made a radical shift. Because I know there's a time when I did. But I was curious. This is more of a getting to know you kind of question in case people don't know enough about us already.
Yeah, I mean, actually, there's been quite a few of them, but I'll just go with the very first one to pop into my brain, which would be when I was 19 years old. I moved from Watkins Glen, New York, up to Buffalo, New York. I went from living in a town called Tyrone. I always say Watkins Glen, New York, because that's the town that people recognize, you know, because of NASCAR and because of wineries. And by the way, my grandmother's land joined with the NASCAR racetrack, so I'm familiar with fucking NASCAR. I just hate it. And one of my first jobs was working in a winery, and then I became a sommelier there, which is a wine steward. So despite the fact that it was illegal, my first real job was getting paid to be drunk and fat and recommend wine to pair with food to tourists. So, and I was doing that at 18 going into 19. But I would say that the first real big radical shift in my life was leaving there to move up to the city. Yeah, maybe Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo, New York may be a joke to a lot of the country, but it's still the city, and especially when you're living in a town that has one stoplight in it. You know, everybody knows your name. It's like the entire town is the fucking bar and Cheers, man.
I was just about to sing. We haven't sung on this podcast recently.
I did a little metal rendition earlier.
That's
maybe
true.
That counts.
I mean, I don't know if that counts as singing, but, you know, most people don't like metal anyway. So.
I will happily tell some stories if the audience writes in and wants some. I will happily tell stories about my podunk rural ghetto backstory, okay? Because I've got so many stories about the area that I grew up in, man. It was the weirdest place. It was a place where you could legitimately buy a camo tux at the mall. It was weird. There was a store, not even was a store, it's still there, a store called Ray Dan's, where you could go in there and get off-brand food, like angel hair in a box, pizzas that have been expired for about 4 months, but they're still frozen, so they're still probably good. Then you turn to the right, and he's got a small boat engine sitting in there, and an unloaded shotgun, neither of which are for sale, but the shotguns up on the wall are. I mean, basically, this was just a place where you could find anything. It was literally, by every definition, a general store, and auction house, and storage unit for the owner, who was also the postman. It was weird. I'm describing this, and I'm feeling like I was living in Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah,
that's
awkward. It's kind of creepy.
It is, man. But I lived there, and to be honest with you, I've got a lot of fond memories of my childhood. I mean, I grew up with Hobart and Dickie, and the stories that you hear, I was there for a lot of them, and I'm there to vouch to you. They happened. So we got away with a whole lot of shit. But I really enjoyed my life for the most part down there. It was a depressing community, but there was a lot of good stuff going on down there. But I decided to make a shift within probably about 3 days. I just made a decision that I was going to move from where I lived up to Buffalo, New York, where my dad lived. So I did. And it's the best move I ever made because of all the new friends that I made and everything else that I learned. So many of the new experiences that I had. I felt like my comedy has gotten better for the most part. Some of you may be out there, you're not even that funny, you piece of shit. Well, so other people agree.
Imagine how bad he was before.
Yeah, exactly. I was not funny. I was not good. And I was fat. I was like one of those 300-pounders. I was a big boy. I'm down to about $180 right now.
Yeah,
almost.
you gotta be extra funny when you're that fat.
Or you don't have to be funny and you just fall down a lot. One or the other. But the biggest thing is if I didn't move up here to Buffalo, I never would have met Brooke, which means I never would have had Max. I never would have gotten started podcasting. I never would have gotten involved in the video game industry, which means that I probably would have given up on my dream to be a writer. I probably wouldn't be writing right now. And everything that I just listed, I am currently doing. I'm every single day working toward my dream. And I'm surrounded by, instead of surrounding by myself with people that constantly ask why, like I had a lot of those down there in the Watkins Glen area where I lived. Lots of people that grew up, just their family worked in this job or worked in that job. You know, they very, very narrow focused. And a lot of people very xenophobic as well. So when I would talk about I want to be a screenplay writer or I want to be a director someday, they would look at me, why? Do you know how rare that is? You know, you live in Dundee. You don't live in LA. You've got no shot. Well, that's not true. That's not true whatsoever. Kevin Smith
did they not realize that you can actually move?
Yeah, first off, that's true. You can actually move. Kevin Smith made a film in Red Bank. Okay? Fucking Red Bank, New Jersey. Who knows where that is? Probably a lot more people now that Comic Book Man is popular, but you know, it was a small town in New Jersey. I bring up Kevin Smith a lot because he's my fucking Patronus. You know, whenever I'm in a dark spot, I shout out, expect a Patronus, and a big fat guy with a backwards hat and a joint comes out and scares the demons away. So much of my life, I've been inspired by Kevin Smith, and that was one thing that I always pointed to. And yes, I realize that's an anomaly, but instead of surrounding myself with the why people, I'm now surrounded by the why not people. You know, my wife, hell, my fucking mother-in-law, Hobart, Dickie, you, lots of my other friends, you know, everybody over at the Keep Studios where we used to do Polygon Table, all of those guys, every single fucking one of them are still why not guys. You know, I mean, they're working on their games. They just released their first dungeon crawler campaign, and I couldn't be more proud of those guys. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing is just change of scenery, change of life, change of culture. get yourself to a place where you can implement and fulfill the things that you want to do. And nobody's going to tell you that it's easy. It's fucking hard as hell. I've been working my ass off ever since I moved up here to Buffalo. But everything that you want is obtainable if you put in the work. And I just felt like in that community I couldn't do that. So I had to make a change. And I did it. So that's my answer. That's my story. I'll get down off my soapbox. Thank you, Tony Robbins.
Banana hands.
How about you, Adrian?
So I think I won't say that we've all had. Let me start over. Me, I have had a similar experience when it came to moving. Like I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, and I spent the vast majority of my life there. And
Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. My school was Dundee Central School. I had a graduating class of 83.
Shut up. I was quiet. I was quiet for you. Now you're gonna sit there and listen. You're gonna listen. You're gonna like it. So I mean, I won't say it's not exactly the same. I was about to say that before I was rudely interrupted.
I'm sorry. I was just fucking with you.
I know, I'm messing with you too. But yeah, I mean, I can't even begin to describe how much better things got for me after I moved. I think a lot of that was just the willingness to start over, to start at the lowest level that someone would let me start at, you know, or I guess the highest level someone would let me start at, which was inevitably going to be low. But I think for me, one of the big things, the big change in my life was when I was growing up, I was always a little bit fatalistic, and I'm sure I probably have a little bit of that left around too. But I just kind of believed like I was going to be something, or I was supposed to do something. Like my brother played violin, and my sister played violin, so that means I play violin. Like I have to. That's just what's supposed to happen.
Wait a minute. Do you play violin?
I started on violin. I don't play it anymore. I only played for about maybe 3 or 4 years. So starting in like 5th grade. So yeah, I mean, I played for a little bit, but
yeah, that's 3 or 4 more years than I've ever played violin, and you've never once offered to serenade me.
I don't have a violin.
I will rectify the situation
anymore.
If you serenade me with a violin.
I will try. You send me a violin, I will do my damnedest.
I don't give a flying fuck if it's hot crossed buns. I want Adrian to serenade me with a violin.
Okay, we'll record that. We'll make that a Kickstarter. Buy Adrian a violin, and he will serenade Robbie.
With hot cross buns. Better yet, no. You can learn yourself a metal song.
I'll serenade you with my hot cross buns anytime you want, man.
We'll get you a violin, and we'll both simultaneously perform The Nookie by Limp Bizkit. You can do it on the violin.
We're going to record it, right?
Rap it. Oh, hell yeah, we'll record it.
Do a video recording of that. And actually, that sounds like a hilarious, fun time as long as alcohol is involved. Oh, and God, I love it. I love it. Love it. So yeah, started on violin because my sister and my brother played it. Not because I particularly wanted to play violin. I mean, I wanted to get into music. I wanted to start with something. But the only reason I picked violin is because I thought I had to. Really, honestly. And it sounds really dumb to say, but you know. And then so moving on down the line, I only stuck with that for a few years, and then I was just like, meh. And I just didn't care that much about it, I guess, at the time. And then I was 100% sure, because I was pretty good at math in high school, and I really loved computers and video games and all that kind of stuff. And my brother was a programmer. I was 100% convinced that I was going to be a computer programmer, and I was going to work on video games, and that was going to be my life. And that was supposed to be my life. Not just that it was going to happen, that was what was supposed to happen. And so I got out of high school. I got into college, started doing trying to do the programmer thing, and it just was not working for me. I mean, I was okay at programming, but I didn't love it. I was trying to work full-time while going to school full-time while living in the dorms. It's just not a good decision. It wasn't working. I figured this is just how it's supposed to happen. This is just supposed to work. It's just fated to happen this way. You know, that I'm just going to make it. And I didn't. I did not make it at all. And so that was when I started kind of having to shift my mindset and realize what was important to me and change from programming to something that I actually was interested in. It was not that I wasn't that interested in programming, but I wasn't interested in it enough to put up with all the other bullshit that was going on and to pursue it. And so I had to figure out what was going to be my stand-up comedy if I was Pete. I had to figure that out. Right. And it took me a little while. I was bouncing around from jobs, and I remembered. It's funny. I did not remember the violin at all. This had nothing to do with music or violin in the beginning, but I remembered that I had always kind of wanted a guitar and an amp. And I never had the money, and I never had the time, and I was always kind of jealous of the few friends I had that had a guitar or a guitar and an amp, if they had an acoustic or electric or whatever. And I was always kind of jealous. I was like, you know what? I bet I could play that. I bet I could do that. And with the money that I'd saved up for the last quarter of the first year of college that I didn't attend, I was like, I have the money. I have the time. I'm going to get this guitar and amp. I'm going to find a deal. I'm going to get a guitar and an amp. And that was what started me. And I was playing guitar for like 3 or 4 hours a day, all about music. I was getting books on guitar. I was getting books on music theory. I was, just absorbing as much as I could. And I was trying to record and not doing a very good job, but doing whatever I could and taking lessons and trying to learn as much as I could. And eventually went to music school. And, it just opened up the door of just what I really wanted to do. And that was get involved in music, in technology, doing audiovisual stuff, composing stuff. I have a couple themes floating around in a couple podcasts that some people may or may not have heard of.
It's true.
All except one of them, actually, which I think is interesting.
Yes, actually, this one, interestingly enough, Nerdynomicon. I'm not even positive if you know this or not, but the composer for our theme music is Brooke's late brother.
Oh, really?
So I decided to use this as almost an homage to him because he was a DJ and a composer and musician himself, and he tragically died a few years ago. So this was one way for me to kind of give him a little bit of a shout out and a touch of immortality by throwing his music out into the internet, because I'm not even positive if he uploaded most of what he has.
Well, now I feel like an asshole.
Oh, well, I didn't mean it to be that.
I'm sorry. I had no clue. No clue.
Yeah, this song was composed by her brother. I actually got this track from my mother-in-law on a CD that she had with a bunch of songs. So, now this song was composed by her brother.
I was just busting your chops, but
Oh, you're busting chops.
I got my chops busted while I was trying to bust your chops.
I'm not trying to bust chops. I'm trying to tell you the secret origin of our theme song.
But yeah, music. I don't know how to segue back into whatever.
That was it.
But yeah, that was it. Good night, folks. Play me off, Sam. Well,
that was it, man. That was our main topic for the night. That's all the reviews, all the news that's fit to print, all of the inner workings for the lives of Robbie and Adrian that you guys are going to have access to on this episode, okay? If you guys like what you hear, if you want to support us a little bit, if you want to give us a little bit of something, patreon.com/artfulgremlins. Donate $1, donate $2. It doesn't matter. $1 a month. Seriously, I mean, that's less than a cup of coffee a day. And we're talking once a month. And every little bit helps. It is so much appreciated. If you don't want to do that, you don't have the money, that's not a problem. We don't mind. Just don't forget to rate us and especially review us on iTunes, because every single time you rate and review us, it helps us to move even further up on the charts. I know you guys hear this on all the different podcasts, but you hear it for a reason, because it is 100% true, and it helps us out more than you can even imagine. If all you want to do is just talk to us, if you want to say, hey, if you want to yell at Adrian for not seeing it, if you want to call me a piece of shit that's a way too positive about the IP that he absorbs all the time, no problem. You can email us, artfulgremlin, without the S, @gmail.com. You can tweet at me at Robbie the Saber, spelled with an R-E. You cannot tweet at Adrian because he does not have a Twitter.
But I'm still working on it. I'm working on it.
But what you can do is you can find us at facebook.com/groups/Nerdynomicon, or just facebook.com/Nerdynomicon if you want to get really persnickety about it. You're like, hey, I don't want to put the groups in there. All right, fine, then fucking don't. But you can, at that point, join our discussions, man. Our official Nerdynomicon group.
Yeah, you want to throw some topics our way?
Absolutely. If anyone wants to post any topics in there, we listen to everything you guys have to say. David Duncan and Aaron O'Brien from Synthaholics Podcast, they post their show over there in our Facebook group all the time. So if you guys are into Star Trek, if you guys are into sci-fi at all, that is a fucking great show. Absolutely love it. And you know what? I'm on the show a few times too. I've been on there a few times. So is Holly, one of our Artful Gremlins over here as well. She's one of our voice actors. Adrian, we got to get you on that show. You love you some sci-fi.
I do. Very specific sci-fi. I'm not into everything, and that's not to say that I hate it. I just don't have the time to consume everything. So there's there's lines that I've drawn of like I consume
sci-fi.
This.
Pish posh. I have the time to be very discerning with my sci-fi.
No, I have to be discerning. I can't waste my time on crap sci-fi. I can't watch Sharknado.
Fuck 3. You, Sharknado is up. No, all right. 3 sucked. Sharknado was the bomb, man. Never besmirch Sharknado. I don't know. I've never watched it. I've never watched it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm not going to watch Sharknado 3 over like Kingsman. That's
Kingsman's
exactly.
Great.
So you got limits on time. I'm not going to watch it over top of Spider-Man, the cartoon series.
All right,
I gotta get my
fucking talking
song.
Blasphemy. Well. Yeah, you need to defecate, but now you're talking blasphemy, Adrian. We got to wrap this up, man. So you can find us on Twitter. You can find us at our email. You can find us on Facebook.com/Nerdynomicon if you guys want to hang out on our group. All good ways to get in touch with us. So that's going to wrap us up, man. Until next week, I've been Robbie.
And I'm Adrian.
Let's close the book on this week, huh?